Let's talk about how to make 2023 your best year yet. And what I'm going to share in this video is probably not what you're expecting. So as I record this, it is approaching the end of 2022. Another year has gone past somehow. Oh my God, I swear it's true. The older you get, the faster time goes by. And I cannot believe it is the end of another year, but here we are. So let's make the most of it. I think we all have a natural tendency to reflect at the end of a year on what went well, what didn't go well, what do you want to change about yourself or your life in the new year. And I want to help you to make 2023 your best year ever. However, I am not going to tell you to exercise or eat better or meditate or drink more water or come up with a better productivity system or work on your relationships. Although all of those things are super important and not a bad thing, and all things I have worked on in the past, that's not what I want to talk about today. I want to address something that's a little bit less obvious, but also really fundamental to the way you actually approach existence. In order to make 2023 your best year yet, I want to suggest that you focus on two things. Number one, you need to know what you actually really want. And number two, you need to be realistic about what you can actually achieve. Sounds pretty simple, right? Well, no, probably not, because deciding what you really want it's an ongoing process. It's a lifetime of exploration. I remember when I was a teenager, the Sunscreen song came out. Now, I'm showing my age here, but in order to listen to a song that you really liked at that time, except the only way to listen to it was to wait for it to come on the radio, or if you didn't want to actually buy it, you could go to the music store and they would allow you to put the CD in a little player and put some headphones on and actually listen to the music. Yes, that is how it was done. So I have this vivid memory of standing in Sanity, the music shop, and putting the headphones on and listening to the Sunscreen song because I had heard it briefly on the radio and I was like, what is this? This is amazing. And I still remember that line where it goes, "Don't feel guilty if you don't know what you want to do with your life. The most interesting people I know didn't know at 22 what they wanted to do with their lives. Some of the most interesting 40-year-olds I know still don't." And now that I have passed that 40 magical number and I'm on the other side of that, I can totally get this. And that's definitely the way I've approached my life. Every day going, what do I want to do? What do I want with my life? What do I want to do today? And that has led me to try some amazing things. It has led me to this life I have today, which, when I was 22, I had zero idea that I would be making jewelry, that I would be living in a beautiful house on the Sunshine Coast, that I would be married to an English guy who I met when he was backpacking, that I would be a YouTuber. Like, YouTube didn't even exist then. I couldn't have even had a clue of what I would be doing with my life now. So don't let that stop you. Don't let this idea that you have to figure it out right now exactly what you want and it has to be that way forever. No, what I'm talking about is work out what you really want to do with your life in the coming year. It doesn't have to be what you want to do forever. Just work out what you want to do with your life in the year ahead. What is your focus? What is it that you want to attain mastery over? What is it that you want to learn? What is it that you want to achieve? Knowing that is going to be a large part of the battle won. Okay, that's all I'm going to say on number one, because I want to dwell more so today on point number two, and that is be realistic about what you can actually achieve. Let's talk about some home truths when it comes to this part of the equation. The first thing here is you need to let go of unrealistic expectations. I think a lot of the stress and the strain and the discomfort and the overwhelm that we feel is because we put too much pressure on ourselves to create things, and we have unrealistic expectations of what we can actually achieve in a year. So much of the stress and discontent I see from my students and people around me is this issue of not meeting expectations and feeling like you've let yourself down or that you've let other people down. But what's happening a lot of the time is we're setting unrealistic expectations, or other people are pushing unrealistic expectations onto us, and we're setting ourselves up for failure and then punishing ourselves when we fail. We overpromise and underdeliver, both to ourselves and to other people, and that is a recipe for discontent. I want to encourage you in 2023 to take the pressure off and focus on the small wins. Now, this doesn't mean I am telling you to just throw it all away, have no expectations, have nothing that you're working towards, and just lie in a hammock all day every day, because that gets pretty boring pretty quickly. At least it does for me, and I'm imagining if you're here watching this, it probably does for you too. What I'm saying is to be more realistic and perhaps dream smaller, or at least dream in smaller increments. And also, rather than thinking so much about having these massive big goals, not that there's anything wrong with that, but think about the day-to-day of attaining those goals. Break it down and turn things into a habit or a system that you're only failing if you're not being consistent with those steps towards that goal. The biggest progress I have ever made towards anything in my life has been when I have perhaps a goal, but more like a journey, something that I want to change fundamentally about myself or about my life. And when I've decided that I want to make that change, I've worked out how to change who I am and how to change the life I lead every single day in order to incorporate that into my life and make small steps towards that goal or towards that change every day, rather than seeing it as one big thing I have to achieve and then once it's done, it's done. In short, I focused on being consistent. Okay, so here's a few tips that will help you when it comes to setting realistic expectations for anything you want to achieve. Number 1, realize that there will never be enough time. There simply won't. You have a finite amount of time in your life. We all will die one day. Our lives will come to an end. And I think a lot of the time we forget that, or we try to ignore that fact. And not only that, we're all busy. We all have responsibilities. We all have things that we have to do. We all have things that we want to do. And if you've got a really busy, full life and you want to start something new, you have to be realistic about the fact that you may have to give up something you're currently doing in order to make space for the new thing, rather than trying to just jam more things into your life and getting to the point where everything starts to fall apart and you don't do anything well anymore. Secondly, I want you to realize that you will fail, and that in fact, failure is a necessary part of the process of growth and development. Also realize that if you fail at something today, there's no reason why you can't succeed at it tomorrow. Every day is a fresh start and a new chance to do things better. Don't let one failure or one moment derail your dreams. And this happens in every sphere of life. Like, say you're on a diet and you stuff it up and you eat too much one day. That doesn't mean you give up and it's all done and over. The next day you wake up and it's a new start. It's a new, fresh start. Same with getting fit. What matters is consistency over time, not failing occasionally or making mistakes. Same with growing your business. Just because you forget to post to Instagram today, or you're a little bit late replying to that one message, doesn't mean you're a failure and everything's terrible and you should just throw in the towel. It just means that in that particular instance, something went wrong. How can you fix that in the future? Or maybe it was something out of your control, and just let it go, move on, do better tomorrow. Also realize that it is your responsibility, 100%. Your success, your failure, it's your responsibility. Look, we can't choose where we're born. We can't choose who our parents are. We can't choose the time or the place. You can't choose how you look. You can't choose how smart you are. You can't choose your natural aptitudes or any other accident of birth. We can't change those things. Some of us are luckier than others when it comes to many of those things, just based on pure chance. But if you're an adult, you can choose and have the responsibility to do what you can with what you've been given. Blaming others, even when they are part of the problem, is not going to solve the problem for you. It will never fix it. All you can do is focus on what you can do. So yes, work on changing the world. That's not a bad thing. But most importantly, work on changing yourself and taking responsibility for every part of your life that you can control. Focus on what you can do in this moment. Finally, I want to encourage you to embrace JOMO. As opposed to FOMO, which is the fear of missing out, JOMO is the joy of missing out. That might sound a bit weird, but what we have to realize is that by choosing one thing, we are by default deciding not to choose a myriad, possibly an infinite amount of other things. When I chose to propose to Nick and make him my husband, I by default turned down the 4 billion other men on the planet and chose to devote myself to that one. And 13 years into being married, I have to say that there is a lot of joy in missing out on all those other men. because I have a great one and I have a great relationship, and what we can build and what we have built together is so much more than I could have ever imagined. Focus on the joy of choosing the thing that is right for you, and realize that it's absolutely fine, if not fantastic, that you're missing out on all the other things that aren't right for you. Come to terms and even embrace the fact that you are missing out on the right things for you. Replace that FOMO with JOMO. I truly hope that 2023 is your best year ever, and I hope this video went a little ways to helping you make that happen. I have another video here I think you'll enjoy. It's the super boring secret of success. And in it, I unlock what I believe to be the reason why people are successful at whatever they put their minds to. I'll leave that one right here and you can check that out next. I'm Jess Van Den. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'll be back again soon with another one. Bye for now.